Sometimes the hard truth is you don't know what you don't know.
Curious what business owners are doing to double revenue, have more cash flow, work less hours, and provide a better lifestyle for their family? Dive into the world of business growth that leads to guaranteed wealth every Tuesday with your hosts, Dr. Laura Schwalek and Jerry Kazaya. Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Welcome to episode 9, Why Businesses Don't Succeed. Hey, Jerry.
Good morning.
What do you want to talk about today?
Oh man, let's talk about all the things that block us. That's
Yeah.
always a good conversation for me.
There's so many reasons why people say businesses don't succeed. They're underfunded, undercapitalized, they've hired the wrong people, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that you don't know what you don't know.
Isn't that
And
the truth?
yeah,
That's so spot on.
and what we don't know, what we can't see about ourselves, we can see easily in other people. We can see where other people are blocked, what other people need to do. It's so hard to look at ourselves.
Well, yeah. Nobody wants to look at their own. It doesn't matter what your stuff is. And that's a nice term, stuff. It also ends, you can also use it as an S. But the reality of it is, nobody likes to look at their own stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, they just did a survey in the automotive industry. As you may or may not know, I am in the automotive industry, have been for my entire life. And 85% of the uber successful repair shops all have coaches today. 85%. Why is
Well, that
that?
could be said of all people, all uber successful people. They all have a coach.
Oh, agreed. But this seminar, or this
This
survey,
sermon?
yeah, this sermon just came out yesterday. And why is that? Because you need someone to help you look at what's blocking you. You need to have someone who doesn't have skin in the game, who is actually looking down at the forest and can not only see the trees, but you also get to see the forest.
Yeah.
Of course, those are analogies. There's never really a forest that you're into. The thing is, you have to you absolutely have to look at the three different types of blocks that you have. Okay. The first block is a physical block. And what do I mean
Yeah.
by a physical block? Well, that's when you don't have the systems and you don't have the procedures in place that will streamline your business for you. We have an insurance agent that we have as a client. We literally increased his output by 800% by streamlining his process. 800%. That's a huge block. If you could just think about that for a minute, 800% is huge.
Yeah.
And it's just by creating proper systems and
Mhm.
procedures. Very simple,
Well,
right?
you made him think about all the steps that he was doing to create an estimate, to create a quote, and demonstrated to him how much time he was wasting going back and forth doing things. And when you helped him streamline it, man, his business exploded.
Yeah, he was able to produce more in less time. It's really a beautiful thing, right? For some reason, I've been blessed with that ability to be able
Mm,
to look at things and just cut out all the BS that's going on. The next block that I talk about really is a mental block.
yeah.
And this is,
Oh, yeah, we all have those. It's
we all
so
have,
hard. It's hard to be aware of our own thoughts, our own and catch them because we have our own biases.
sorry, you can't know your own blocks. Einstein said it many years ago, a problem can never be fixed with the same mind that created the problem. It can't be
Mhm.
done. It just can't be done. Now, whether you get someone in there to help coach you, whether you get someone to guide you, someone to mentor you, you get someone to look down from 10,000 feet, let's call it, right? You get to see the whole city, the whole area when you're looking
Yeah.
down as opposed to standing at ground level. But when you get someone in there that can actually look at what's going on, and I'm going to go back to Einstein's quote, right? If you change your mind, then you have a better opportunity at fixing your problem. So, how do you change your mind? Well, what the first thing that you do, you must learn. You must change doesn't happen until you do, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a writer downer.
Is
Change
that
doesn't happen until you do.
you have if you want to affect change in your business, if you want to affect change in your life, look in the mirror, my friends. The
Yeah.
change always starts with you. And if you are unwilling to change, and I'll tell you, 98% of us think change is hard. It's difficult to make long lasting, permanent changes because it's outside of our comfort zone. And that's one of the things that, man, I can't stress upon you enough, right? When you're coaching with someone, you're being held to a level of accountability that's uncomfortable. You're being
That you
held
wouldn't
to
hold yourself to.
Oh my God, no. It's easier to flip through Twitter or Facebook. It's easier to sit down and veg out in front of the TV or get into whatever drug it is that you're into, whether it's alcohol, caffeine, sugar, sex,
Or just
or
or just
working
simply push
out.
paper.
Some people use working out as a drug, right? They have to do it. And I'll tell
And
you
some
today
people,
is
they just simply push paper around and they look busy and they think that they're working. They think they're doing something.
yeah,
Can you give us
that's
a concrete example of like something?
hey, that's part of the by the way, that's part of the first block. The physical block is when you're pushing
Yeah.
paper and not doing anything. You get home at the end of the night and go, "Oh my God, I'm so tired." And if you really honestly look back, you think, "I didn't do crap today. I played, but I made it look
Yeah.
busy." So, what
Can you
example do you
give us,
want?
yeah, give us a concrete example of a mental block that stopped someone from growing their business?
The easiest one I have that comes up is a client wanted to grow his business and was so used to the struggle, was so
Mhm.
used to cash flow problems, was so used to living literally day to day that the business started doing really well. They'd been coaching with us for about 8 months, and the business was doing well, and the cash was no longer an issue. And we were sitting in a meeting, and I kept telling him, you need to hire more people. You need to hire more productive people. You need to hire more of the, and I'll call it technicians, right? The technicians
Mhm.
are the ones that are actually building the widgets or doing the service or answering the phones, they're producing income, right? I said, you need to hire more of these people. And he looked at me and said, our meetings are very raw. He said, are you effing kidding me? You want my company to go broke? And I said, well, hang on, brother. Let's talk about this for a minute. I said, what does an average person bring into your company in this position? He said, average could be between 200 and 250 a year, $250,000 a year. I said, okay, cool, great. And I'm telling you, you need to hire at least two right now. And he said, yeah, but I'm paying them $50,000 a year. He goes, I'm not going to gamble $100,000. I said, hang on, babe. Let's talk about this. And I basically boiled it down and asked him about what he paid his people, right? And how long would it take him to know whether or not this new hire would be a long term player in this company? And he boiled down to, well, I have a really good feeling in about a week. And I said, okay, so in
Mm.
a week, and what do you pay them to start? He said, well, we'll pay them 30,000 base to start, and with annual bonuses can be at least $20,000 a year. I said, okay, so let's talk about this. I see you're holding back the growth of your company by $250,000 for a $600 investment.
Yeah.
Do you want me to loan you the 600? And I reached in my pocket and pulled out the cash. And he looked at me, he looked at the cash, he looked at everybody in the room, and you could see the light go off. It came on and bing. He was holding back the growth of his company for a $600 investment. Now,
Wow.
I don't know about you, but I'll tell you about me. And in my case, I'll gamble 600 for $250,000 every day of the week and twice on Sundays, just so you know. And of course, he did too. That was his mental block. He was still living in scarcity. He didn't realize, it didn't compute, it didn't click with him that he had the cash available to do the hiring. And at this point in his coaching career with us, he was a very effective hiring person for $600. And I'll just tell you now, he started off at that point. I think he was at employee number 9 or 10, and today he's got over 35 employees. So he's doing well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely a mental block there over $600. It
Yeah.
wasn't $600. I say that, I jokingly say that, but the truth was it's more about living in scarcity. He was still living in scarcity. And until you break that, until you figure out how to get out of scarcity, you will always be in scarcity. And that's part of what we get to help people do. Well, the third block is a subconscious block. And again, okay, so you have the physical block, you have the mental block, and then you have a subconscious block. Subconscious block is the most difficult one to work with. It's really easy for us to go in and fix somebody's physical situation, remove all the stuff, help them create systems and processes, right? It's simple to get rid of the mental blocks. Again, for me, right? For us, it's what we do really easily. The emotional block is a different situation. And sometimes we have to use different tools that are available. And in this case, we had a client who, no matter what we did with them over the course of 2 years, they were like, they never got to the success that they were hoping for and that we had hoped for them as well. And it was really interesting because every time they got to a level of success, they stopped everything and changed careers. And I couldn't figure out what in the heck is going on. So we had them go to a center and they were treated for PTSD trauma, at which time during their treatment it turned out that this person's father had literally rented her out from the time she was 5 until the time she was 8. And her father would trade his daughter to a friend of his for drugs and alcohol. And what ended up her subconscious mind, every time she became successful, her subconscious mind would shut it down because she was this little 5-year-old girl thinking that if she became successful, this man would come and take control of her again. And she would relive that horror every time she became somewhat successful in her career. And so we helped her clear that block. And literally within 2 weeks of returning home from those sessions that she had, she created a 52-week online video program, and it's hugely successful. And she's just doing great things right now out in the internet world and publicly speaking, and no longer afraid of that man coming to take control of her again. So it's huge healing, huge healing. And that's probably, I'm just going to say, it's way the most difficult block to get clear on. It's the messiest, right, for the client because they literally, you have to bury your, and this is her subconscious mind blocked it out so much she had zero recollection of it ever happening until she did the therapy. And when
Yeah.
she talked to her mom about it, her mom was like, I wondered what was going on with that guy. Her mom was clear that something was going on, but she just wasn't sure of what because mom was working 2 jobs. And so there was all this stuff going on. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to help people clear this, right? It's a beautiful thing to see them actually succeed and do what it is that they're called to do. But those to me are the three blocks. You have, like I said, you have a physical block, you have a mental block, and you have a subconscious block. And I'll tell you, the subconscious one can be so hard to break. And it's all about breaking through. It's about finding your peace. It's about getting there. And I think in our next episode, we can talk about some of the healing that both you and I have done and where we're at, how we got here, and let more people know that it's available.
How someone knows that they have a block is that they're not getting the results that they want.
That takes you back to the hard truth. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You're up there. The analogy that I'll use is you're treading water as fast as you can to just keep from sinking. Right? When you're a new business owner, or even a business owner that you've been in it for 2, 3, 5 years, and you've not had the proper training, you've not had guidance, and you're just freaking winging it, doing the best you can, kind of being a human being, right? I never got that manual either. But when you're winging it and you're treading water just to keep your head above water, you really don't know what you don't know. And that is the hard truth. You need to have everyone should have someone else come and look at their situation. Dr. Dan Engel in his book A Dose of Hope says that 70% of Americans have unresolved trauma. Well, I'll guarantee you, if you're part of that 70%, that unresolved trauma is holding you back at some point, at some part of your life. I guarantee it. And we have to just look and be willing to look and stop the BS telling yourself that change is hard. Yeah, change is good.
One of the things that people commonly tell themselves is, "Oh, I can feel it. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I'm turning the corner." And they keep on going, and the corner never actually gets turned. They just keep on going and they look back and it's, man, it's been another year and I'm no further ahead than I was a year ago. But it feels like I'm right there. I can feel it. Like, but I just can't see it. I'm just not quite there yet.
Yeah. And that's part of that really is because they're continuing to self sabotage. While you're building something up, you're destroying something else because they're T. Harv Eker says it best, right? When he's talking about in the Millionaire Mind Intensive, he talks about your financial thermostat, right? And your financial thermostat is set to a certain number. Whatever that number is, right? It's set. It's just like the thermostat that's on the wall. If you have it set for air conditioning and it's too hot in the room, the thermostat turns the AC on until the temperature gets lower. Same thing with the heat. If you have it set for heat and it's too cold in the room, the thermostat sets the heater on until the temperature gets to where it's set at. Your financial thermostat is exactly the same. Until you know how to reset your thermostat, I don't care what you're doing. If your thermostat is set for $25,000 a year, you will self sabotage as soon as you get 25 grand a year. If it's set for 50, you will make 50. If you make $50,000 in the first 2 months, you will not make another penny the next 10 until you get help resetting your thermostat, your financial thermostat. And
Sometimes
again,
people get they earn that money, but then they lose it.
oh my God, they piss it away. They spend it like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
And then they go, I'm doing all this good stuff. How come I'm not getting better? How come I'm not doing better? Because
And that's part of the problem.
you don't know what you don't know. You never learned how to change your thermostat.
And that's probably part of the problem with high income earners. They earn a lot of money, but then they have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And they earn a lot of money and then they have huge debt on top of it. We have helped so many high income earners go from being in debt to being financially free so that they
Yeah.
don't have to keep earning such high amounts. They do because they want to, not because they have to, because they're under credit card debt or whatever, mortgage payments or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we helped one client and he and his wife, she got on the call with us and she started crying and she said, "Listen, I got to stop all the BS. I'm going to tell you straight. If it wasn't for food banks, my family would be starving." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, dude, you have multi-million dollar launches. Multi-million dollar launches. Where's the money?"
Yeah.
And I never thought about what when the money stopped.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's the financial thermostat that you were talking about. That's a block. It's a mental and an emotional block because you can have more than one. You can have a
yeah,
physical, mental, and emotional block.
yeah, roger that. Yeah, and you can have more than one mental block. You can have more than one physical block, right? I
True
mean,
that.
you can have, man, that's part of us helping you do the hard work.
Yeah. So at the end of each episode, we ask a question. And my question for you is, are you no further ahead this year than you were last year? That's basically it.
Yeah.
If maybe you increase by 5%, 10%, and that's good, but if you're not where
You
you
didn't
want to,
keep up with inflation. Not this
yeah,
year.
that's true. If you're not where you want to be, then reach out to us. Please reach out to us and see if it's a fit that maybe we can help you. If we don't know how to help you, then we can certainly point you in the right direction. Cool. Thanks, Jerry. Anything else you want to add?
Make today amazing.
Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Share the show and connect with us at bbmmusa.com to submit questions and learn more. That's bbmmusa.com.